It's a beautiful day today. It's much warmer. I've just had the radio on and it says it's going to be 70 degrees. So up here, that means we're going to be, 65, 68, something like that. So since it's warm and not raining, I've got all my stuff out. Anytime you get a chance, get everything out drying. Let things air out. That's a blessing. I've been up here before. One time I was up here for like 14 days in a row. And it rained every day, all day. So, get everything open, air that baby out. I've got neighbors too. These sites are beautiful. I always pick sites where you're far enough away that you can't see your neighbors. The one I love is all the way back up the mountain. So it's 4.5 miles in. So you got to remember, that's a long way to trek if you got to run into town, but you're completely by yourself and isolated. But you got to remember that travel time. Yeah, beautiful day. Well, I'm going to get the chainsaw down and just make quick work of this wood that's just laying around here. All this wood inside here. That way when you do make your fire, it's same thing we did over there. It's getting all that heat. Excuse me, it's drying it all out. Every piece counts. It's ugly. But that's 30 minutes, maybe an hour. 30 minutes probably, burn time. So I was telling you I've got everything out here drying, taking advantage of it. But the big thing that I forgot to mention is that it's Oregon. So it doesn't matter what the weatherman says or the newscast, it can be just like this, beautiful, sunny, boom, pouring rain. Because you got to remember that we're only about 15 miles from the ocean, from the coast. So that's its own weather system. It does, what it wants. So I've got everything out here drying, but I'm also going to go. It's got its time, but what you don't want is it to be out here and then boom, starts raining. Now you got a big mess on your hands, because once something gets fouled, once it's wet, it can't go back in the van. Because if you get anything in the van, any kind of wetness, you get your little, where I sit to enter the van. It's all got to be planned out where you got to have your shoes off before you get in, so you don't bring in any moisture, because once that carpet gets wet, But once your bedding gets wet, once anything gets wet, it's going to be wet for a long time. And then it's a bad living situation. One thing I wanted to tell you, you see that I've always got my back door open, right, on the van, and my sliding door. So that's something I did, because what happened is one time I was camping, and for 3 days I left that open. Well, that's pulling on the battery, right? Because it has the little sensor, the little switch. So what I did is I went and disabled all those switches. So on the back door and on the sliding door, because they're open all the time, because it's my living space, right? So I'm in and out, in and out. And if you're opening, closing, it's a pain in the ass. And it's rude if you're around other people. That constant slamming in and out, that's no bueno. So I'll show you what I did. On the door here, I looked for a sensor. I'll show you one up front, but couldn't find one, so I found out it was built into this here, into the locking mechanism. So I took all this apart and found it. And you can test it easily. You know, it's going to be wires, and the attachments, they'll be attached onto the prongs. And you'll see on your interior light, it'll be on, right? So when it's here, it's off, but then you, oh, boom, now it's on. So anyway, I took this all apart, pulled the connectors apart, black electrical taped them, and put it all back in there. And so now this door can be open. So you see if this switch is engaged, now we don't have a light. You open the door, you got a light. Make sense? So on that door, I want it, because when I open that door, I want that light, because I'm in the cab, so I'm looking for something. So I want those. So I left those enabled. But then here, let's see if I can get you some light. Where are you? There it is. Let's see if I can see it. There it is. There's the switch. See that? The little plunger? So I took that all apart, pulled out the wires, and so now when this door is open, it's not pulling any power. Because if you've got a really good brand new battery, like a fatty Les Schwab that costs you $350, and a modern car, good. Maybe it doesn't affect you, but an older vehicle, I couldn't figure out what was going on, and then it dawned on me, well, you've got the back door and this door, and it's pulling the power, and it's a pain in the ass, because my battery is located in these cars. It's behind the driver's seat. So I got to take everything apart to access it, to get to the battery. It lives under here. So it takes you 10 minutes. You got to move all the stuff. Total headache. But that's what was happening. I had those doors open for a day, 2 days, 3 days, and that added up. It was summertime, so they were open at night, you know, for convection, for cooling. And the battery's dead. Pain in the ass, man. So that's just a little trick. Be careful when you're doing it, because you'd be shocked, but on vehicles, they run, some of the wiring harnesses are run where they give you nothing. They're run exact to length, right? You don't even get another inch. So it can be a little pain. I just gave mine a little tug, and I was able to get a couple more inches out of it. But you don't want to, you got to be careful, because it can get sucked back into the car, right? The wiring. You're pulling on it, and then you're pulling on it here and there, and boom, now it's disappeared, and it's gone forever. If you try and fish that out, they've got those things run through places you can't imagine. So you're not getting it back if you lose it. So be very careful. When you do it, get your wire, disconnect the little plunger, wrap that in black electrical tape, make it a fatty so it can't slip back into the housing, to the crevice of the body, right? Wherever it's run through. It's a great thing for me, because ever since I did that, now I'm in and out. I can leave these open. There's no issue. One more thing on the plungers that trigger the dome light. I know people will ask me this question. They'll say, well, why didn't you just go up to the dome light and disable it, turn it off? So when you open the door, it doesn't come on. It's not burning that battery, right? The light's not activated. Well, I did a test like that. And there were two issues. One is that if I have it off, then when I open my driver or passenger door and I need that dome light to help me navigate to find things, I got to reach up there and turn it on each time. And then number two, I did the test, and even though the light wasn't coming on, that switch, even with the dome light turned off, it was still pulling the power. I don't know how or why, but it didn't matter. Still with that plunger open where it thinks that the dome light's on, it was still drawing power. Phantom power maybe, I don't know what, but it still killed the battery. And that's why I made the decision to physically go in and take those apart. So here's our first serious problem with the new Canopy setup. And the problem is out of beer, right? Should have brought more. You gotta stock up. If you think you need 24 beers, get 60, right? If you smoke cigarettes, you need 3 packs, get 6, get 10. Everything, you never know what's gonna happen. So you've gotta stock up. You know, you gotta consider your space, how much room you have, but now we're out of beer. And so here's the first issue with this Canopy. It's mounted. So if I want to run into town, you know, it's only a 10-minute drive to get to, there's a little country store down the way, which is normally I just go, gotta go grab beer. And I just jump, remember, nothing's outside of the van, everything, it's all self-contained. I always leave the camp, so I'll set up a dummy tent and leave things out. So if someone shows up, they can see that someone's there and hopefully not try and take over your camp. But that's another story. Anyway, so now I need beer. So if I want to go get it, I got to take all this apart. So I got to pop the guy lines, I got to bring it down, I got to roll it up. It's only going to take me, 5 minutes. But I've got stuff out of the van. So it changes things. Because now I've got a different situation. It's pretty good up here, but there are scumbags that come up to these sites, and their whole job, they're all just meth heads. And they come up, they look, people are gone down at the creek, at the swimming holes during the summer, so they're away from their campsite, or they've run into town, they've left everything set up, and they'll come and just grab it, put it in their car, and they're gone. And things, camping stuff, if you have money and you shop at REI, you could spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on your setup. I mean, I've got all high-end gear. Just here alone in this van with my gear, if it were to all be stolen, I have full coverage insurance, which is a good thing. Definitely get it. But I've got $5,000 worth of gear. So, on that topic, if you have your auto insurance, talk to whoever your provider is. I use Geico, and I got excuse me. I was able to get, it's called renter's insurance, but it covers all of your property no matter where it is. So we went through it, and it covers everything inside that van, everything that's on the roof rack, everything that's on the outside, everything's covered. And if it gets stolen, they'll replace it all at current value. So it's a great deal, and it's only $14 a month. Peace of mind. Anyway, this was about beer. So I've got 3 beers left. I could hike it. Or I could just spend 5 minutes, take this apart, run in, get it, and we're done. Easy peasy. We'll see. It's getting dark. Got to get this fire going, but it's going to show you a trick that I've used before. So I've got this empty PBR case. Got my wood that I was going to build, little teepee out of. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, stick it in here. This is the most dry wood that I have. Set it down. I've got 3 logs laid down on the bottom. So that way we get convection, and those logs, once the fire gets going, it burns down on top of it, creates coals, and then that's what gives you a good fire. Always lay down 3 logs underneath it, build your fire on top of it. You'll see that it'll radically change your game. Anyway, got a little juice here. Not too much. You can use lighter fluid, whatever you got. You know, I do all the bushcraft stuff, but am I really out here, you know, using a ferrocerium rod and using tinder and starting a little tiny fire and building it up? Blah, 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 blah. No. Here you go. Done. Make sure this stays far away from the fire. Pick lighter. First time, every time. Fire in a box, baby. Woo! PBR fire. So this is it after about 3 minutes. You can see that wood in that box just laid down by itself. You know, the box burns away and it lays down and it's all on fire, and there you go. Fire's looking good. I just changed into my nighttime clothes. It's nice. It got cold real quick. So I just had some food and I'm going through editing the video, sitting at the fire. I'm out here at the fire pit. I'm not under my canopy. It's nice. I can't see any stars. It's a big moon. Real bright coming through the trees. My neighbor's got a big fire going. It's cracking, popping. Yeah. Just gonna keep editing the video. And I've got another movie to watch. I download a bunch of them before I leave Wi-Fi. Because it's amazing the insatiable appetite for content, right? For me, movies, that's my thing. I do YouTube videos and movies. But I'll burn through them, and that's the worst. When you burn through them and then you got nothing. You start watching them again, you memorize them. We will see each other mañana, si Dios quiere. Night. Guten Tag. Beautiful day. Last night was great. Rain never came. And I was able to just hang out here, the main, fire pit out here. And it was warm and nice, real quiet. My neighbor was quiet, no noise, that's always great. You never know what you're gonna get. Some people come up here and have a Lollapalooza right next door to you. Blasting music all night long, partying. It was a tragedy. Got too close to the fire. I was just not paying attention, and I smelled rubber burning, and I go, uh-oh. So I looked, what could it be? I've had this for like 4 years, but I'll keep it. I'll probably be up here for another 2 or 3 days, but you've got to make the call, and there's just no more space. You got to be real disciplined on how much you're filming. And this one it's kind of a new style too that I'm trying out. Real, just rough edits. talking to the camera more, less tripod setups, back and forth. Because if you do this kind of stuff, you know how much work it is. If you're doing it and thinking cinematography and shot setup, it's tons of work, because when you guys watch it, you know, you see me coming through, you see me passing through, exiting. You got to remember that each time you've got to physically walk over, put that camera somewhere, walk into it, get your shot. Then you've got to go back, grab that camera, move it to the next location, right? It's just tons of work. Some of these people I watch on here, knowing what they're doing, it's just amazing. I mean, you'd need a crew in reality if you're really filming a show. I've done it too. Doing all that setup, moving that camera, it never ends. And now everyone's using the drones, and it's amazing. The amount of labor, physical work that goes into it is enormous. You know, try it yourself. This is all shot just on an iPhone with a tripod. But experiment, play with it. It's really fun. You know, I do it just mostly for memories and to try and share tips and tricks to help people out. Gives me something to do too. Because when you're up in the woods, you can get real bored real quick, right? And you can get lonely and depressed, so you've got to have something to do. They say, what is it in the Bible? Idle hands make for the devil's workshop, something like that. More than that, what I'm trying to say is, you know, it's a lot of time. It's not like when you're living around people. There's all kinds of distractions that aren't, when you're in it, it's horrible, it's distractions, but you can go get a coffee, you can go to the gym, you can go see your friend, you can go get a beer, there's stuff to do, but up here there's nothing. There's nothing. So that can get you real lonely, and you can get in your head. So you've got to have something to do. And this keeps me busy. I edit around the campfire at night, and it's fun for me. Yeah, that's about it. I'm going to wrap it up. The sun's coming out. Beautiful. So I'll catch you on the next adventure. See where I am. I don't know where I'll be. But I'll be somewhere.